Welcome back to the Sure Sales Group Show, episode 52. I'm back with my good friend and mentor, Matthew Neuberger. Matt had a goal to help 1,000 businesses, and he's letting our audience in on the action.
Here on the show, we talk about real estate, sales, negotiation, marketing, entrepreneurship, buying, selling, renting, investing, and what it's taken us to grow from 2 employees to 20, from 30 million in sales to 130 million in sales in the last few years. Thanks for watching.
So Matt, thanks so much for having us back.
My pleasure. It's always nice to have you here.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I saw your campaign to help 1,000 businesses with this as one of the vessels.
Yep.
Why don't you explain to our audience kind of what that was about?
Well, you know, we're a Sandler franchise, and we've been around the Baltimore and Washington, D.C. markets for, I don't know, about 15 years now. And, you know, I remember reading this book. This, can we move it? Can we move it around on the desk? All right, so we're moving it around. I read this book on a train going to New York when I was a banker, and I was thinking about what do I want to do, you know, sort of with the rest of my life. And I had made money, and I really liked the idea of helping people and businesses and things like that. I read this book, and by the time I got to the last page, I was like, this is what I need to do. And everybody else who's read it, who's a client of ours, and I think even you, this is a transformational book. There are so many beliefs we have about selling and garbage in our heads about how to sell that prevent us from being millionaires, literally prevent us from being millionaires, that are unlocked in this book. And so I've used this book to build a multi-million-dollar business, several different businesses, and now I want to help businesses in Baltimore and DC by giving it to them. So no strings attached. If you want the book, we're going to give it to you. My commitment is to get this book in 1,000 people's hands who currently don't understand this process, this Sandler process. So that's why we're here, and that's why you're helping. Thank you.
So what's key to understand is the Sandler process, and a lot of the stuff here in the book, it's completely unconventional of what you would think sales training is. Most people don't know what a professional salesperson does really, because they're used car salesman, trashy, slick, lying, whatever. This flips the script on it. I read the book in 2010 when we first met each other. It seems like a long time ago. Is that 8 years?
That is a long time ago.
I couldn't even grow a beard then.
That was 25. Yeah, so it was like...
Yeah, I was 22. I read the book, and when I saw your campaign to give 1,000 of them away, I realized I didn't have a copy. I immediately filled out the form. I said, hey, give me a free one. I like free stuff. He mailed it to me. I'm reading it again, and I had this... You know when you smell something that you haven't smelled in a long time, it brings back memory. There's some studies.
A lot of things come to mind that you could smell.
Oh, it smells like grandma's garage. Oh, this or that or whatever. I started reading this book, and I started having memories of when I learned how to sell and kind of got enthralled in the process. I said, Matt, if you want to help 1,000 businesses, let me please come get you back on camera, and maybe we can get some more people who want to take selling seriously. They can sign up, get exposed to it, no strings attached, and flip the script. I will say this, though. When I'm reading it, and I put myself in the perspective of someone who has no context, you almost don't believe that some of this stuff would work.
Oh, yeah.
Like, when someone asks you a question, don't answer it and ask a question back. On paper, it seems rude.
Yeah.
Or don't do anything unless you know what the outcome's going to be within reason. There's all these little principles. So if you just read the book, it's easy to dismiss it and be like, that doesn't work.
Yep, 100%. And people do all the time.
But if I read it without having the kind of reinforcement of role playing it, doing it, training it, showing live action in classroom style setting, I would have dismissed it too. Thank God I didn't. So why don't you dive into, if you watched the past episode with Matt, we talk a little bit about the philosophy of Sandler, but some of the big ideas in the book. Give us a kind of the baseline. What would you learn when you read it?
Well, I think I want to address one thing you said first, which is, you know, for a lot of people, the reason they read some of the principles in this book and don't implement them is because they have head trash. Head trash is our technical term for BS belief systems where they're unfounded, untested, but they believe that. And we all have it. Our brain is always looking for shortcuts as to what's going to work and what's not going to work. The problem is if you've created a bunch of BS in your head about how selling works, you'll fight what's in this book, which is why this is almost completely opposite from the way that people actually sell things. Right. But it really works because it's designed to get to the truth quickly. So if you just take the title as an example, which is, I'm going to say it out loud, I hope this is okay, but I don't like the title. You can't teach a kid to ride a bike at a seminar. And the title here deals with the very first sort of, BS notion that a lot of people have in their mind, which is everyone wants to watch a YouTube video, or they want to see something, like read a piece of literature, like a pamphlet, and think that ultimately that's going to unlock the secrets to selling. And the way that people advertise now, a lot of people are telling you, hey, listen, if you just take my 2.5-minute course, you're going to know how to do X, right? And it's BS. You have to put the hard work in. And so the title deals with the very first sort of head trash that a lot of people have, which is, if you want to be great at sales, back to your point, you've got to apply this stuff. And you can't, in your head, create the scenario and decide whether or not you're going to do the right thing. You have to follow the principles, and you have to test, right? In theory's great, but reality trumps theory every day. Yeah. So the only way you know if this stuff is going to work, or a new selling tactic or strategy or a new business idea is going to work, is if you test it. So the book is all about, hey, if you're a casual reader, you want to pick up this book and put it on your shelf and put it with your trophies, with your other sales books, and not read it, not going to help you. Not going to make you a millionaire. It's not going to help your company grow. It's not going to make you a better business leader. But you're a guy that's a perfect example of being very successful in selling.
Thank you.
You read the book. And I've, through my travels, created a lot of friends. And you were somebody that was scrappy, and you came in and you found a way to sort of do like the Steve Jobs, sit-in classes, that kind of a thing. And we helped you. So I've got a huge heart. I love helping people that want to help themselves. And so you were one of the first people to really take advantage of getting some help, but us not getting paid. And that may sound silly or stupid or completely wrong, but I got to tell you, the more people we help, the more we seem to succeed.
Yeah,
it's not always about it. Yeah.
I'm a billboard.
So I'm looking for 1,000 disciples that through the evidence of their success, their business's success, they can do lots of things to help lots of people. I mean, you're here today. How many episodes?
This is going to be episode 52.
How many homes have you represented, sold, been involved in the transaction, total in your career?
Well, last year we did 430. I mean, it's definitely in the thousands. I should have that number down. But this, what's neat about this is most people don't have any sales training, period, especially in the real estate industry. I'd argue in most industries. And the training they get is be enthusiastic, make sure you smile.
Enthusiasm's great if it's well-founded.
Okay, but you have to go deeper if you really want to unlock the bigger components of value and land clients who are going to be with you for life.
Yeah, listen, you have to understand how the human brain works. And this book has created so many spin-off, sort of like Me Too type training that doesn't actually capture everything that's in this book. But to your point, and to everybody that's successful, everybody else I know, to billionaires that we work with, they're actually helping us work on programs right now. They all say one thing: you must understand, if you're going to be successful, you must have the skill of selling. It doesn't matter if you're a CEO. It doesn't matter if you're a solopreneur. It doesn't matter if you want more friends. It doesn't matter what you want, you have to sell it, right? You're asking people for their time, their money, and their energy. And the people that make the most, have the best lives, most successful, money, whatever you measure success by, understand how to sell. So if you don't know how to sell, you've got lots of reasons why you're not there yet. This is fundamental to convincing other people that you can help them and they can help you.
Ask yourself this question: do I know how to sell? And be honest with yourself. And if it's, man, I think I do, or I think I could get better, we're going to put up a link, buy the book, call someone on Neuberger Company's team, and you're guaranteed to be on the right path. I think the reason I was successful, most people who get engaged early, why they're successful, is because they don't have any preconceived notion. I was lucky. I was like 22. I think I'm supposed to be a business person. I don't know what that word means. I'm broke. You guys look like you have a nice car.
Right.
Can I come here? And they're like, yeah, read this, do this. So I just started doing it. So I was pretty lucky.
Yeah.
But you can easily turn it around.
But you asked. You weren't afraid to ask. And I think the biggest problem is you've got to put yourself in uncomfortable situations that really, everything in your brain is saying, don't ask for that. I mean, the skills are going to tell you how to ask intelligently.
Right.
But the first thing you have to get over is you were really good at asking.
Well, if you want a better answer,
Ask a
better question. That's a key principle. Sounds cliche, but there's so much behind it. You know, the other thing I was going to say when you're talking about CEO, solopreneur, you got to learn how to sell. A good anecdote is, do you know what they call the best salesperson in any company? Do you know the answer? CEO. Always, you don't get to the top by listening to everyone else's ideas. You sell other people on your ideas and your vision and your execution. The best salesperson in any company, they call him the CEO. So,
Right.
we're 10 minutes in. We don't want to bore you guys too much on this, but
Let's talk about some principles. Yeah, let's give them.
So I'm reading this the other day. Oh my! I remember the first time I learned how to set the right expectation, how to put the qualify, present, close in the right order. So you're the master trainer here. Let's talk about when you're starting a selling conversation or the first kind of interaction, you have to kind of set some expectations, play by the right rules. Most people don't do that. It's kind of like, hey, I'm going to present and pray you like what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big principle in here. It's about chapter 7 or so. There's about 14 chapters, all important. I like that one. Upfront contract, setting the right expectation. Don't do anything unless you kind of know what the outcome is going to be up front. What's your take on that?
Well, I think, we were kind of talking off camera about this, but, a lot of times I'll ask business leaders and even salespeople to put 3 words in order based on the way selling happens. And this is a good lesson for you. So I want you to answer the question as well, but if it's close, qualify, and present as the 3 words, what order do those go in? And most people will tell you that you qualify, you present, and you close. The problem with that is that process leads to stalls and objections. So what I would much rather do is not have to fight my buyer. I'd rather get to the truth. Are you my buyer?
Right.
Can I help you and can you help me? And if not, let's part company. And I'll tell you, there's a powerful word in selling if you want to be a great salesperson, and I hope you take this to heart. And the word is no. See, every buyer thinks because they have money, they have all the power and you have none. And so when you're selling and they say, well, yeah, give us a couple of weeks, we'll get back to you, we'll let you know if we want you to represent us, or whatever they say, right? That's a stall. And that happened because we qualified, we presented all our value, and then we tried to close them.
Well, most people don't even try to close, but.
Yeah, it's usually, well, okay.
Okay, see you later.
They might check back in from hey, just calling to check in. And if you're calling people to check in and see where they are, you're screwed. Can I say that?
Sure.
You're screwed. Because they now see you as having no value. They got the value from you because you presented it all. So the 3 words go in the following order in this book, and this is the life-changing piece. This gets you out of being the stereotypical salesperson that is looked at as no value add, a beggar, usually calling it at the wrong time. Put the words in the right order. And the words go, qualify, close, then present. In other words, do you think your I almost said a word. Edit that. Do you think your best presentation is actually going to close a client? Most people call us and they say, hey, can you help me with my presentation skills? And I have to say, why do you think you need better presentation skills? Because your prospect should be presenting to you why they need you, right?
Yeah.
And that comes from asking really hard questions, as you know. We were talking about this again off camera.
That just reminded me, I just had an epiphany. There's a new book by Robert Cialdini. It's a famous one, Influence.
Influence, yep.
I got that here.
Yep.
You promoted that book.
Yep.
Great book, Influence.
I just did a training on tying Sandler into the principles, so yeah.
That's another good book. Influence is the name. He just wrote his second book, like ever. It's called Persuasion.
Yep.
Heard of it.
Yep.
And it's about how you set the stage before you influence someone. And it's kind of like this.
Yeah, he studied the book. He's done good.
He probably did. There's a lot of Sandler and influence components that definitely blend together. But what you're saying is you have to set the stage before you present, you close, meaning that's the pre-suasion.
Right. Well, think of it this way. Let's say you're selling something to me, and it's $100,000. right? Do you want to make sure that I'm willing and able to spend the $100,000 before you give your presentation, which concludes with, and by the way, Matt, to solve all these things, $100,000.
Yeah, of course. We all get that. That's the qualify. That's first. We got to qualify.
Right.
So, yeah.
So, now the other thing in terms of the persuasion concept, or knowing or beginning sort of with the end in mind, right? If you begin with the end in mind, you ask during the course of a discussion with somebody, what's going to happen at the conclusion of this discussion? So if I'm sitting down with somebody for the first time, I have to set expectations so I know what constitutes a logical next action, which could be close. Right. So if I were going to close you for $100,000, we would start the meeting by, Andrew, you said you had these questions at the beginning of the meeting. I'll make sure I answer all those questions. Here are the questions I have for you that'll be important. Do you have $100,000? Do you have the types of issues that are way bigger than $100,000, so spending $100,000 makes sense? Do you like us? Do you think we can help you?
Right.
Can you give me some of the whys behind how this problem came to be? So that I understand how to not step in the same mess you've already created, right? I may not say it that meanly, right, but I'll say something that's going to be somewhat direct. So I'll say, I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions, anything out of bounds, we have this much time. And by the end of the meeting, when I've qualified you, I'm going to say, Andrew, okay, before I come back and give my presentation.
This is the close.
This is the close. Before I come back and give you the presentation, I need you to know what's going to be in it. It's going to be $100,000. We're going to get started here. Here's the team members you're going to be working with. I think you said you'd like to start next week, if possible. Andrew, is that correct? Or have I missed anything? Do I need to modify that proposal before I bring it to you?
See, what he's doing is he's making sure that if he delivers on everything the client wants, that he found out through qualifying, asking a lot of good questions, if he delivers on that, we have a deal. And this stuff works, and they say, yes, that all sounds good, because you're just kind of giving it right back to them. Hey, we can solve your problem. The budget makes sense. We agree on time frame. We agree on how the fulfillment's going to work of the agreement. At the end of this, if this is all good, are we good? Yes. Then I go in and present how I can solve all the problems,
right?
Which is qualify, close, present. So when you're done presenting, the guy's already kind of agreed that if it makes sense, he's in. But of course, you always give him permission to say no too, because this book is not pushy, weird salesperson stuff that everyone thinks it is. It's,
right.
Hey, and if at any point in time it doesn't work, if we discover throughout the course of the presentation that maybe we're not the best fit, or you have problems that we can't solve, or any number of reasons, are you comfortable telling me no? They say, of course I'll tell you no. But if not, we're good. Right, boom, closed, done.
Well, you kind of hit on something that I think just initially that I want to address with everybody who's watching, which is, a lot of people have the mindset that I feel like asking those questions at the end is going to make it look like I'm cornering them. I want you to understand, every time I start a meeting, and what this book will tell you is every time you start a meeting, you must do two things when you set expectations. One is you have to make a clear no as an option. So I'm going to tell Andrew, any point this doesn't make sense, you tell me, and we'll stop the meeting. If I see that you're not going to be a good fit for what we have, I'm going to tell you.
Right.
And the reason I'm going to do that is because, and this is really important, this is the difference between people that are successful and people that are unsuccessful. Successful people value their time. Unsuccessful people will let other people waste their time. So you may have heard the term, that CEO doesn't suffer fools lightly. I want you to be so greedy with your time that you will only spend it with people that have an equal level of desire and commitment to solve a problem you can help them with, and zero patience or tolerance for people that are going to waste your time. Now, with that mindset, I can come in and say, Andrew, no's okay.
Yeah, no's great.
But typically, here's what yes means. You let me know if that works for you. If you'd like to modify that, let's modify that together so we have a clear no outcome and a clear yes outcome. But what I don't want, and I don't have time for, is writing proposals or putting together proposals or driving around town or chasing him down to figure out if he really is interested in working with me. I have zero tolerance for that. And not from a place of being mean, not from a place of being rude, from a I value my time. And let me tell you something, millionaires, billionaires, successful companies and business owners value their time, and they do not waste it with people that are not serious or qualified. So that's a mindset.
That's one chapter in the book, and there's a lot to unpack there. That's a 2-day training on how to do that properly, how to role play it properly, because there's, when you're dealing with humans, there's like unbelievable amounts of variables, but that is huge. You qualify, you close, you present, you do that in the first 10, 15 minutes of the meeting, and it makes the meetings go smooth and efficient. People respect you more out of the gate because you come in not wishy-washy, and you're different from everybody else.
Right. If you value your time, your prospect's going to get that, and they're going to treat you differently. You'll make a bad prospect a good prospect. They can tell the difference between a desperate salesperson and someone who values their time, because successful people value their time. They know that. So you must be successful if I can only get a little bit of your time.
If you can make it so comfortable for someone to decline your services, they feel good. And even if it is a no for a good reason, hey, I'm glad we found out now instead of like 6 months from now after I realized I can't help you, that person is so much more likely to become an advocate too. Hey, these guys couldn't help me, but you have a problem. They were so clear at articulating what they do that I think you should call them. Didn't work for me, but it probably works for you.
Yep, 100%. And we do that all the time. I've closed meetings out, shook the other party's hand, said, thanks, this is not going to work. I'm absolutely certain of it. And they say thank you, and I say thank you, and we're good friends. But what we don't do is waste each other's times pretending to be friends. Yeah. I'm going to build a friendship based on getting to the truth, not on anything. But again, that's really mindset. What we've got to get an understanding of is that with that mindset, now I can walk into a meeting and be very clear on expectations and getting theirs as well. Understand, this isn't a strong arm tactic where I walk in 30 seconds say, Andrew, you're going to buy at the end of this, or it's a no. I don't do it that way.
Finesse scheme.
We're going to co-build it together, and that's the key. We're going to co-build it together. As long as we both agree, we're going to continue. Kind of like a marriage, right? Good marriages work because each party's getting something out of it, not because one's acting like a dictator. Those typically don't work. So, yeah, that principle, really important. But again, if I want to qualify and then close, to my point, getting back to the tactics, I've got to be able to really close by saying, Andrew, before I come back and deliver the proposal, I want to make sure I understood everything I heard you say correctly.
Right.
Okay? During the qualification process, if Andrew says anything that I think would derail our process, I bring it up in that moment. So Andrew might say, well, I don't have $100,000. And I say, Andrew, here's our challenge. I'm going to come back with a proposal for $100,000. That's the minimum I can do this for. What should we do?
That single question. How do we handle this problem?
I'm going to give the problem back to him.
Yeah, when someone brings up a problem to you, it's really not your job to solve it, but help discover how they might be able to solve their own problem, because people and prospects can solve their own problems much better than you can. Well, I don't have $100,000. And you say, okay, well, I can't do it for less. How do you want to handle it? And they're going to start saying, well, I could probably get a loan. I could talk to my partner. I could do this, do that. Instead of you going,
it's his problem to solve, not mine.
Yeah.
I don't let him give me his problems. So write this down. Don't let other people give you their problems. If you're a CEO and you're watching this, you know you have people constantly coming into your office. Do people come in your office and give you problems?
yeah, and in real estate, it's like the name of the game. The buyer's agent and the listing agent have to cooperate, cooperating brokers. And the buyer's agent wants to make their problem the listing agent's problem.
Right.
The buyer really didn't like the fence in the backyard after the inspection. Okay, how do they want to handle that? I'm not going to offer a solution.
Unsuccessful people let other people steal their time. So we tell CEOs, and this is very good for anyone that has people coming to them and doing the got a minute or I need some time or something like that. We always tell them, tell people to bring you the problem, but also to bring you the solution. And we say, give them a 1-3-1. So if Andrew and I work together and he was bringing me a problem, I'd have him give me the problem, which is the 1, 3 solutions he likes, and then his top choice for what he thinks we should do. So I'm going to do that with my team, and that's a way, when I'm with my team, I'm selling them in the idea of solving and owning the problem themselves. If I'm working with a prospect, I don't say, give me a 3-1. What I typically just say is, how do you want to handle that, Andrew?
Yeah.
I see that as an obstacle. What a lot of salespeople will do is cruise through the conversation. They say, it's going to be $100,000. The prospect nods and goes, interesting. Okay. And the salesperson goes, and we can probably get it done in about 4 or 5 weeks. Tell you what, let me get a proposal together for you and we'll continue the meeting. And the prospect inevitably says, yeah, go ahead. No, it seems like an easy way for me to get rid of you. And
Yeah, I'll take all your stuff even though I have no intention of buying. I can't afford it. And, yeah, we're good.
exactly. So who are you chasing? If you're chasing, it's because we're not qualifying and closing before the proposal. So I want you to write one thing down.
Okay, one thing.
One thing they need to write down is, and literally, pen, paper, now. Do it. Put it up somewhere where you can see it every day. Write this down. My time is unbelievably valuable. Therefore, my prospect must earn it. And all I mean by that is, at any point in the meeting, the way the prospect earns your valuable time is by providing you the information you need to truly assist them in solving their issues. If you take that mindset, what you read in this book, if you take the book, will help you apply without trying to filter should I, shouldn't I questions about should I qualify, should I tell them that if they don't have enough money, what should they do, should I ask more questions. That mindset will guide all the tactics that we have in this book that will allow you to work with anybody, get to the truth, not be a sleazy, slimy salesperson, whatever, and really implement at a high level. Because you know anyone who's successful values their time. So, I don't know.
So that was one element of the book. Speaking of valuing time, I think we can close it out. There's any number. I would have loved to talk about the questioning strategies, how to pull out, the true motivations, the pain, the budget, decision, post-sell. There's so much value in the book. Matt's giving it away. So we're going to put up a link, and it'll go right to your page where you have that landing page where you give a 60-second blurb saying, hey, fill out your address, I'll mail this to you. It's $6. You mail it to me, it came like 3 days later. So Matt, thank you so much for your time. I hope you found this valuable. I try to get in front of these guys as often as possible because the energy is good. And wherever you are on the journey, you never 100% master it. You're still learning it.
Every day.
I'm still learning it.
Every day.
So it's something you just got to commit to. If you're going to be selling things, which most people are in business, whether they know it or not. It's not a physical product, it's an idea, it's a management style, it's a 1-3-1. How do I sell that to my team? Because I like people not bitching at problems, but bringing me solutions. It's very critical. So Matt, appreciate it.
Thank you, man.
Yep. Matt, in Sure Sales Group style, we got to do an oh, by the way. You're already giving away the book. This is a $32 book you're giving away for free, 1,000 of them. So
right.
While supplies last, just go to the link, get it. You'll be glad you did. Hit them with an oh, by the way. What else can they do?
What else could we give them? So we recently rolled out a Sandler Online license, which allows you to get the entire selling system online. So if they want that, we'll give them a year of that for free.
For free?
For free, no cost.
Can I get that?
You can get that.
All right, now you get a free...
We'll set you up right before you walk out.
Well, I remember when this came out, this is not typically free.
It's $500 a year, typically. Yeah.
And anyone who signs up, gets the book, can also go online and get that?
Yeah.
Free.
I want to help 1,000 people. I want to help business owners. I want to help individuals like you. You wouldn't be where you are if you didn't hustle, but you didn't have the right tactics, the right people around you. I'm all about making it a bigger community. I need more friends successful like you. So that's the deal.
Get on the online training. I'm going to do it. Our whole team's going to do it. Thank you so much for that. And it reminds me of another quote. People who say money can't buy happiness haven't given enough of it away.
Right.
And I can tell this makes you happy. You're like, hey,
yeah.
I'm gonna give it all away for free. I easily could charge it. I do charge. I have tons of paying clients, but I want to give a bunch away for free. Mad respect. Thanks again.
Thank you, man. Thanks for helping everybody out there.
Until next time.